Hi everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. We've got we have Jay's Stihl 031 still on the bench, and that doesn't make me terribly happy. So what happened is that last video from several weeks ago, when I said it was running good, it was. The very next day I had called Jay. He was coming by to pick it up. Wanted to start it on the bench. Wouldn't go. No spark. So literally overnight, that night, it lost spark. That didn't impress me a hell of a lot. So I did a little research and found out that there were two versions of the electronic ignition on these things. This one is more like it's a hybrid electronic ignition. There's a pickup trigger assembly that's underneath the flywheel here that has a couple leads that head out to the coil, and that apparently is known for going bad. I was able to talk with a good friend of mine, TJ. Little side note, if you haven't looked at TJ's channel, TJ's Chainsaw Restoration on YouTube, you really ought to take some time to check it out. He's got a variety of different saws. They're all really cool, and there's a couple that he's pulled down completely for repaint, and yeah, it's a good time. He takes you through the rebuild process, the repaint process, and like I said, it's a good time, so check it out. But TJ happens to work at one of the local power equipment shops, and he's got some experience with these things, and he was able to tell me that that trigger mechanism was known for failing because these leads are tiny. I don't even know if the video will pick it up, but that, geez, if you put a mic on that, it wouldn't even measure quite a 1/16 of an inch. So anyway, I've obviously got the saw already quite a bit torn down, but we'll go from here on video, and what we're going to do is we're going to get that old trigger module disconnected. And I was doing some research. The later style module actually was a lot like this chip. Now, I don't know who makes this chip. It's not marked as to where it's made. Well, I take that back, Taiwan. So it's not Stihl OEM, but K&T Saw Shop on the web had this module, and it was listed as being a replacement for this style pickup coil. So we're going to give it a shot. It's pretty easy to wire in. We should probably just have to cut a couple wires and wire nut them together, and this will be a solid state pickup module that should last the life of the saw. So just to demonstrate that she has no spark. Kind of a sad situation. I don't like looking like a jackass, but that night that Jay came by, there's no question, that's what it was. So let's see if we can get some spark on this thing. So a lot of Stihl's flywheels are like this. You've got your nut in the center, and then there's threads on this outside hub. So you need one of these special tools that will thread in, and then you can run this screw down and just pop it right off. Otherwise, you do bad things with hammers that you just shouldn't do to one of these things. And we're not going to do that. Actually, it's pretty slick the way those flywheels come off. Okay, so there is that trigger module right there. You see there's two leads coming over. One of those is the kill switch lead, and one should be the lead that's going to the back of the coil here. And even though that probably doesn't show up on the video, I am seeing that. So what we're going to do, I think I'm going to take the coil off so that I can snip those and leave a little bit on this factory module, just in case for some odd reason this isn't the problem. I'll still be able to use it, but I don't see a big risk in that. I really think that's so odd. There's a little connection right here where it goes from, you know, what looks like a number 18, number 20, all the way down to that microsmic little lead. It's not what I would do. But I think that's where we'll snip, is just right below there, leaving enough that I could strip some off again if I really needed to. So the whole idea, yeah, we'll take that and we'll marry the chip up and put the kill switch all in this same lead here, and that will take care of it. In theory, I could leave this old module underneath there, but there's no reason to. It's serving no purpose at this point, so we're going to take it off. It's not retaining the crank seal in any way. There's no dust boot over it or anything, so we'll lighten the saw by a couple ounces. What the hell. Now, the way TJ explained this to me was that what tended to happen was these things would run, but the vibration would eventually cause a break inside this pickup module, and it would be running, you'd let it cool down, that break would separate, and then you've got no spark. So I have certainly not worked on enough Stihls to know how often that happens, but I went out on the web, and again, you can't believe everything you read out there, but there was a fairly high rate of failure on these that the Stihl enthusiasts were talking about, so I'm fairly comfortable in this diagnosis here. So again, I've got my original kill switch lead, get some insulation off of it. This little module comes with a diagram. Cute little thing. Microsmic. But I'll get it in where hopefully, that looks like it's focusing. It's saying to cut your old lead off of points. That's primarily what this is used for, but because this has that pickup module, it should work. That's your switch, your on-off switch. That's designating the spark plug lead coming off of the coil. What it's saying is you mount this little trigger mechanism inside off of that lead that would have gone to the points, and then you've got your kill switch coming off of that. So this is really simple. This thing has a mounting tab built onto it, and we'll be able to screw that right on this boss for the coil lamination right there, using one of the original screws. This should be a slam dunk, and I hope I didn't just jinx myself. So I don't need that bullet connector, so I'm going to get rid of it, and we'll get this all married up. Tell you, at night when that stupid thing, this saw, wouldn't start, boy, I'll tell you that that's not a feeling you want. You don't want your customer to show up expecting to take a saw home and instead seeing that. I mean, Jay was really great about it, but the amount of trouble that we've had with this saw, for one that's by all appearances extremely low hours, it just, will say it baffles me a little bit. Right. So I'm gonna get this top or back, whatever you want to call it, screw started. We'll mount this trigger. They say to mount this in a cool location, but it's got to be fairly close to the flywheel. And those two things work out well because obviously your flywheel is where your cooling is going to come from. Now the only thing I didn't do is make sure that this will clear the fuel tank. It looks like there's plenty of room in there. I'm just going to find out before I get too far. Okay, that's going to be close. I may have to rethink how I position this. Try bending the tab back first. There we go. That'll catch it. Very nice. Okay. So, let's put our flywheel back on. Let's see if we've got this problem solved. I sure hope we do. We'll gap this. The business card I had been using has disappeared. That probably means it got greasy and nasty and I threw it away, and I just keep forgetting to bring another one out. But most of these call for a 0.015 inch gap, and a business card works great for that. But you can always just use the old standby feeler gauges. I like to slip it down into place and then just rotate the flywheel around to the magnetic side. And a good strong flywheel magnet is going to pull it right into place. It's nice and tight there, so we can crank these down. And these are our flathead screws, so you want to be careful not to rip the heads apart, or you'll have a problem if you ever have to take them off again. Alright folks, in theory, we're going to have spark here. If we don't, I'm not going to be happy. Wow, beautiful. Holy moly. I want to make sure that picks up in the video. That is a beautiful spark right there. So, TJ, thank you, man, for the tip on this damn module. So I went looking for these. They're still out there. You can find some that are supposed to be new. They're pretty damned expensive. You can find used ones. After this, geez, I don't know. It would be a hell of a gamble on a used one. It takes about, well, I've done this too many times now. It took me about 20 minutes to get it apart to this point. I don't want to do that again and again and again. So I'm going to get this thing back together. We'll do a test run on it. I'll do several test runs long before I call Jay back again to come pick up his saw. But if this works as well as it seems like it's going to work, I highly recommend this little module from K&T. It's different than an Atom module. It's not the same company. All metal case here. It looks legit. So, like I say, I'll finish getting this thing back together and we'll come back for a test run.